Fala pessoal, sejam muito bem-vindos a mais um episódio aqui do Podsar, em parceria com o CREA, com Fé e Mútua, diretamente da COP30. Nós estamos aqui no estande do CREA, com o nosso estúdio montado, e a gente está trazendo muita informação, conteúdo para vocês. Então, antes de iniciar, já clique em se inscrever no nosso canal, ative o sininho, tanto no nosso canal do Podsar, quanto no canal do CREA, que esse episódio estará nos dois, né? E lá no Instagram, Podsar Podcast e CREA_PA. Fala pessoal, sejam bem-vindos a mais um episódio aqui do Podsar, em parceria com o CREA, com Fé e Mútua. Nós estamos diretamente do estande do CREA na COP30 em Belém do Pará. E o episódio de agora, né, eu tenho aqui ao meu lado grandes pessoas. O Juan, ele vai ser responsável por conduzir a maior parte desse podcast, porque o nosso podcast hoje ele é internacional. Nós recebemos duas grandes pessoas aqui. Juan, muito obrigado por ser esse co-host mais uma vez, né? E eu vou passar a palavra para você. Apresenta essas duas personalidades que nós temos aqui.
So, good morning to everyone. We are much delighted to be here with you guys. It's been amazing because they understand there is so much chance for partnership in the future. So, Mr. Manuel and Mr. Antonio. I'll start with Mr. Antonio. Mr. Antonio is the former president of the American Concrete Institute. Yeah. And Mr. Manuel is director, correct? Is the director. CEO of his company, which he will introduce very much. It's a pleasure to receive you. Mr. Antonio, start with you. Can you just quickly introduce yourself? And in your presentation, I would like you to outline what are the partnerships, the strategy, the possibilities that we have with you in America, especially in a year where we don't see a huge American delegation at COP.
So let me start with introducing myself. My name is Antonio Nanni. I'm a research professor at the University of Miami, and I'm delighted to be here not only as a person from academia, but also representing the American Concrete Institute. I was a president of the institute in the year 23-24, and I made international activities part of my agenda. You pose the question of what are we doing in terms of collaboration, particularly because the United States is not represented as a country at COP30. But I think that this is more of a political issue. The ability for us, as ACI in particular, or also as a university, to collaborate is immense. The issue of sustainability and resilience is fundamental, not only for industry, but also fundamental for people. And the idea that we can do things together in what we call in general the built environment is really amazing. One of the 5 strategic pillars of ACI, the American Concrete Institute, is sustainability and resilience. Another pillar is international relations. So I'm here in Brazil exactly for those reasons. I'm most excited to talk to you today and really seek relationship that go beyond the personal, interaction, but really become institutional. It's only through collaboration that we can make a difference in the world. So I deeply appreciate the opportunity to be with you today. Thank you.
We also appreciate. How about you, sir? Please introduce yourself and your business.
Good morning. It's very excited to be here. I'm Manuel Boccolini. I'm the CEO of the Manini Prefabbricati. Manini Prefabbricati. I'm a civil engineer either, but I'm a manager, and I'm a manager of a company that has 3 factories in Italy. We are precasters in concrete, and we have a different type of business units inside our company. We have a huge part of engineering speculation and engineering dimension, and also MAP design, DIM design. And then we have factories. So we have 3 factories, one in the north, close to Milan, one in the center of Italy, close to Assisi. Maybe someone can remember St. Francis of Assisi. We are very close to Assisi. We have another factory between Rome and Naples. And so in these three factories, we create brick as elements for houses, for riddles, bridges, stadiums. And we have it's also a business unit very interesting that is for electrification of old buildings with these systems, joints that improve the seismic resilience of the buildings. So we do a lot of things.
So my first question for you is before the interview, we were talking about a possible bridge between Sicily and Italy. And I know that the distance in itself is very short. There are some bridges over the sea that are longer actually, especially in China. Even here in Brazil, we have in Rio de Janeiro. But we know that there is a lot of seismic activity, especially in the Italian peninsula. So I just question, do you think in the near future and how long before we have a bridge between Sicily and Italy?
Oh, you are talking about this bridge about, I think, 20 years. I don't know, Tony. 20 years. He, and it was a dream of our last Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi. Everyone who was involved. And this is a design project, is a project, and there is also the company that has to build it. So we are almost done with all the technical things and also the authorization. The It is a huge challenge because not for for the length of the bridge, because we are talking about I think 3,000 and a little bit more distance, 3,000 meters, and so that's just a Jesus. It's less than 4 kilometers, and so it's not huge. It's a huge seismic area, very huge seismic area, and the challenge is about that. But in every place is there's been a lot of challenge fees in the civil engineer, and we think that eventually we can reach that goal at least. And recently he are saying that probably the works will start in 2026, but who knows? Yes, probably next year. Next year. That also has been a small press conference about the starting of the job, but who knows?
Mr. Antonio, in your presentation, you said that one of the goals that you look forward in advancing is resilience. You mentioned that word, and I find it amazing. Here in Brazil, if we look to the USA without Alaska, we are actually larger than America because we are in the equator, so in the map we get compressed, but we are larger than India, we are larger than the continental part of the USA. And we also have huge challenges. We have basically all sorts of climates with the exception of tundra, I would say. And looking forward with resilience here in Brazil, we are in a period of transition. We are transitioning very fast. For example, Brazilians, we are very eager in embrace a change, like fix, for example, that I assume you have already heard of. Because it's for free. We transfer money for free here, and in America, this is still 5K away from happening. So I would like your perspective, especially when it comes to infrastructure. What kind of resilience that we can learn from your association and also from the University of Miami? And what do you think we can learn from Brazil? What Brazil has also to teach to America?
This is a loaded question. Let me try to break it down a little bit. First of all, resilience. We believe in the United States, or at least I should say for myself, that resilience and sustainability are the two faces of the same coin. You cannot have one without the other. When we think in terms of resilience alone, we typically think of natural disasters. But there is not only natural disasters, there is not only hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, there is also the sea level rise. So when you look at resilience, it's a very, very complex issue. And you're right, you live in a very large country, but you have a long coastal line and you have issues, for example, related to flooding. You have issues related to, challenges that are weather relating. and it could be even flood the GC massive rains, as we've seen, for example, in Spain, in Valencia, just this year. So I think you cannot decouple resilience from sustainability. What are the lessons learned? I think that now, as a not only the US, but I would say as an international community, especially in the design phase, you start thinking of what's happening in the future. How do you relate yourself to the durability of constructions, not only for housing people or activities or industrial activities, for example, but also to guarantee their safety. So this is becoming a concept related to designs. Is in the design and is in the materials. The other thing that I would like to mention is that the thing that is perhaps more striking, I go to the third part of your question, what are we learning by being in Brazil? This is my second time, but the first one in this area that I believe is truly amazing. I think the emphasis, particularly at this cost, is related to two things. One, implementation of the sustainability resilient topic. But the other is attention to the people. You cannot have true resiliency if you do not take care of people. So I see that this issue is not only look at the environment, but look at people. And so I think this is a message for engineers that is resonating. And I think this, we were just having this discussion this morning, will make our industry and the profession of civil engineering more attractive to young people. We read the brain of the new generation to impact the work that we do as a society.
Amazing. Also looking forward, one of the discussions that we are having here in Brazil that I think will impact both of you is the question of rare earth minerals. We are having a huge debate here in Brazil because not only we are in the state of Pará, our homeland, we come in Benai, we live in Parauapebas. Parauapebas, we have the largest iron ore mine in the world. And basically, we very much depend on China for exporting because they are our main client. But the reality is that apart from iron ore, we pretty much have all sorts of minerals, right? Diamonds to uraniums here in Brazil. And we are having a debate because China has implemented some restrictions on exporting, especially due to political wars with the USA. And we also know that the US is lagging behind in terms not only to exploration, but also to processing of those materials. We know China somehow has a monopoly, and those minerals, they are essential for military, for bridges, for cell phones, for computers, for all sorts of infrastructure, and engineering is infrastructure in essence. So I would like your opinion whether you see a possible partnership between our nations, and also taking from the European perspective, how can Brazil get closer to you guys? And I would like to start with Mr. Manuel.
It's a good question, very complex question. I think that in the construction industry, there is it's a really revolution moment, I think, because every company in Europe, Europe is a deal, has a huge push towards sustainability. Be too far, and we are like saying that maybe we pushed too much high the goals, but the situation is that there is a huge debate in every part of the industry. And if we are talking about construction industry, 28% of global emission such construction industries is one of the challenge to abate the emissions in the sector that are called hard to abate. For example, the spot cement production. And we are in Europe, we are working a lot with some new materials that help to use less cement, or maybe to use other materials instead of steel. For example, we are the first company in Europe helped by and Mr. Antonio Nanni, that I want to thank again for the huge challenge that we had. We made a bridge, a short bridge in the Sardinia, now without steel. So reinforcement bars, rebars, were in GFRP. And so I think that Brazil could be a challenge state for the new kind of materials. And also because it's correct what you said, now is from China. A lot of things are from China, but I think that the standard things are from China. But we have a huge challenge to change the basis materials, because in the construction industry, I think that in 15 years, we will not build, we will not use so much cement, and we will not use so much steel and sand, for example. It's sad, but we will use new materials that Brazil could help to develop.
Well, you ask a very difficult question that I don't think I'm prepared to answer. I think the issue of the international relations goes beyond what I can speak to, but I want to look at your question from a different perspective. Obviously, obtaining these minerals impacts the land. And I think following, what was said before, I think we need to minimize that impact that we have on the land and the natural resources. And I want to give you an example. Some of the heavy metals that are mined now as natural resources can be recovered from wastewaters or the waters that we produce during the extraction of oil. So I think that, again, going back to the theme of sustainability, we have to look at life cycle and we have to look at the value chain of whatever we do. So not only we build things, but then when we, let's say, demolish these things, what are we going to do with these byproducts? And look at recycling some of the very important items that we need for other types of industry. So complex question, not really good answering, but I think you understand the gist. Again, sustainability.
So we just talked about very complex issue here, and just to finalize our conversation, because our time will be up soon. Even before talking about rare earths, you need to talk about sand, the most durable material that no one talks about, no one really cares about. And I'm sure that we are looking forward to have a further discussion with you, especially with China. I'm sure that we will develop a further partnership with you. And I'm amazed to have this conversation because the UN has allowed us to be all here. And if you have a final message, I would like you to leave your final message to the camera. You can share your Instagram, your website. It's the same for you, sir. You can share your Instagram or your website or your contact. So, Mr. Manuel, you can.
Okay. Just I think that to lead the message is very important to use the data. We in the construction industry is very important to put data in the decision process, because one of the very important things that we could have is having numbers to the measure of the sustainability of the scientific situation of the consumption of the energy inside the building. So I want to improve and I want to say to everyone that sensor site buildings are the future, because they will help us to understand where we are going and what we have to do.
You mean AI, of course.
Is that something that helps to get every good interpretation of what we understand. It's important to have the data and putting sensors in everything that we build. If we think there's a small high that is $20,000 has 50 sensors, maybe sales of oil, so a gasoline, so the pressure of the tractors. And inside of a building that is much more expensive and has a much more things to monitor it, we have to put sensor inside the building to monitoring everything. That's the future.
Final message in my end. Manuel Boccolini spoke about data. I'm going to speak about people, particularly because we're hosted by CREA today. I think the most important item, maybe as an educator, is the young generation. We have to convince young people that there is a future in civil engineering. It's a great profession. And I think that engineering in general, it provides the solution to society. So technology is not a bad thing. Technology can help us in reaching the level of sustainability and welfare that is necessary for our society. So it's all about people, people, people.
So thank you very much. We much appreciate your contributions, and I'm sure that we are looking forward to a strengthened partnership between Europe, especially by Italy and the USA. Thank you very much, sir.
Pessoal, e para finalizar, gostaria de deixar um recado para vocês. Vocês viram que o Juan conduziu brilhantemente essa entrevista, esse podcast. Deixar um recado para vocês. O Juan ele conduz um projeto que se chama Clube Poliglota. Ele fica localizado em Parauapebas. E se você tem interesse em participar e desenvolver suas habilidades em outras línguas, procurar
No Poliglota Parauapebas e siga a Florescer Engenharia.
Exato. E, é claro, se você gostou, deixa o like, se inscreva e nos ajude a trazer mais pessoas como as pessoas que nós trouxemos hoje. Thank you. E obrigado. Tchau, tchau. Até mais. Tchau, tchau.